Hello everyone, welcome back here to the channel. My name's Scott. It's great to be here again with you as always. Now hopefully you watched videos that I've made with Japanese English, Wa Sei Eigo. They were quite useful and beneficial, I'm sure. I really do hope. And I'm going to do one today, but it's a special one for my Japanese English. Now with what's going on at this time, when I'm filming this today, the Japan series is happening right now, the Yakult Swallows versus the Oryx Buffaloes. And the World Series finished up in America not so long ago, and probably everyone's aware of that Ohtani won the MVP in America as well. So I mean, it's a baseball fever. So baseball fever, with that in mind, I want to do a Japanese English baseball version, and that's what this is going to be today. So my baseball version of Japanese English. The word itself in Japanese, yakyu, and baseball. Wa Sei Eigo, Japanese English. Okay, so today let's do a Japanese version, a baseball version of Japanese English. So the first one is now a home run. Now everyone's familiar with the word home run. In Japanese it's the same word, in English it's the same word. But sometimes when that ball is hit, it doesn't leave the ground. It may not reach the stands. So it hits off the top of the ball, and it ricochets, it bounces away from the outfielder. He's got to run after it. Now you have a pretty fast base runner who hit that ball. He can circle those bases and score before the ball reaches home plate or before he's tagged out at home. So in Japanese, I'll put it in the English word. If I say in English, it's a running home run, they say in Japanese. But in English, it's not running home run. It's an inside the park home run. It has three words there with your home run. Inside the park home run. So he hit an inside the park home run. Okay? Now, that's the first one. Now the next one I want to do is also a ball that's hit pretty hard and pretty far. Now this ball doesn't become a home run. It bounces before it reaches the wall and then maybe bounces over the wall. Now in that case, the Japanese is quite different than the English. If I give the English pronunciation, it's called an entitled two-base hit. But in English, in America, maybe probably other countries too, it's called a ground rule double in English. A ground rule double. So not entitled two-base hit, ground rule double. That's the second one. So the first one, the ball doesn't get to the stands, but it's an inside the park home run. Or it bounces over that wall and it becomes a ground rule double. That's the second one. Now, the third one I want to do is not a hit ball, but the ball hits the batter. Now, in English pronunciation in Japan, they say dead ball, a dead ball. But in America, it's not called a dead ball, it's called hit by pitch, and that's what it is, HBP, or the abbreviation for that. So, hit by pitch. So dead ball is not used in that regard, but hit by pitch. Now just one more note on the dead ball. Dead ball is used in English, but it's a ball that is hit by the batter and it's a foul ball. Maybe it lands around his feet. The ball is not in play. That's called a dead ball. It's not in play. It's very difficult to see because it may be right around the batter's box where the batter just hit the ball. So that's a dead ball. A ball that's not in play, and the umpire will roll a dead ball. But the dead ball in Japan would be hit by pitch in America. Hit by pitch. Okay? So we have our inside the park home run. And number 2, we have our ground rule double. And number 3, we have our dead ball, which is hit by pitch. Okay, now I want to go to the next one here. So when the batter hits a ground ball, goro in Japanese, but that's kind of English in a way, but it's a ground ball. And the fielder is ready to snatch it and scoop it up maybe and throw it over to first base. But sometimes that ball takes a very strange hop, maybe to the right or to the left or maybe even over his head. In English pronunciation, the Japanese English is an irregular bound, okay? But in English, it's going to be a bad hop. So he crouched down to field the ball. The ball took a bad hop and the runner reached first base because the fielder was not able to snag the ball. Snag means to grab it. So that's a bad hop in English, not irregular bound. Let me go to my next one. Now, First base and second base and third base, they're fine. But in Japanese English, they also have the home base. But home is fine, but in America, we don't say home base, we say a home plate. Home plate. So you have your first base, second base, third base, and home plate. So the batter who hit that inside the park home run, he circles the bases, first, second, third, and slides into home plate. So stay away from home base, stay with home plate would be the correct English there, home plate. Okay? Now I want to move a little bit off the diamond. The diamond is what we call the baseball field. So I'm going to move a little bit off the diamond, and the batter is at bat, and the next batter is waiting his turn. He's going to be up and following the batter who's at bat. That's at bat is the batter that's hitting, and the batter behind him is waiting on the on deck circle. It's called the on deck circle. Now I think in Japanese they call it the next batter circle, but in English, American is going to be the on deck circle. The on deck circle. Now you may see me looking down here a little bit. That's okay because I have to check my notes a little bit here as well. So that's the on deck circle. So the batter's waiting on the on deck circle to hopefully hit a home run or even maybe a inside the park home run. He's up next. So the on deck circle is where he's waiting. Okay, now I'm going to give you one that's half right. Now the Japanese English is a Texas hit. A Texas hit. The Texas part is okay, but the hit part we have to take that away, and it's called a leaguer. A Texas leaguer. So that hit is called a Texas leaguer. League plus the ER, Texas leaguer. Texas is fine. Put a Texas leaguer on that, not a Texas hit. Sounds nice, but it doesn't work as well, Texas leaguer. And just a note on why it's called a Texas leaguer is going back to over 100 years ago, and there was a player playing in Texas, and he had 5 hits that day. And all the hits were between the infield and the outfield. They all fell in there for hits. And it was called a Texas leaguer by that batter, going back to the 1890s it is. That's where the term came from. Okay? Very good. Now, that covers everything because I've done the 7 of the Japanese, the baseball version of the Japanese English, which I wanted to do today. So I'm finished, and if this goes well, if I get some likes and I get some, comments, which I'd love to get some comments, I may continue with Japanese English for baseball, but even for sports, because in sports in general there could be a lot of Japanese English used. I'd like to teach the English that will be used overseas in America or other countries as well. So let me just recap one more time. So we have a running home run would be an inside the park home run. An entitled to base would be a ground rule double. Home base would be home plate, and the next batter circle would be the on deck circle. And let's go to the Texas hit would be the Texas leaguer. And irregular bound will go with a bad hop. Those are kind of set expressions in English for these terms for baseball. They don't really change from that at all, especially Texas leaguer and inside the park home run ground rule double. Bad hop can be a bad bounce. That's not a problem, changing the second word, but not irregular in that case. Okay, everybody, that's my baseball version of Japanese English. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back with maybe more Japanese English into the English usage. Until then, everybody, thanks for watching. If you like, if you subscribe, if you leave comments, that would be excellent. We'll be back here again soon. Until then, everyone, have a great day and keep studying hard. Thanks for watching.